Hi folks, I just wanted to have a quick revisit on picking the Union 2134E 5-lever mortise lock. What I've done, I've set this up so that this pair of pliers here are applying the turning force on the handle of the pick, and I'm going to use the pick wire to lift the levers, and we're going to hopefully see through the pair of pliers the feedback that you would normally feel in your hand when you're picking. So what I'm going to do is start on lever 5, and I'm going to just very, very gently nudge it, and I believe that this lever's binding. Okay, I'm nudging it. Now there, that's just dropped down. You saw a slight movement in this pair of pliers downwards, and if we listen, you can hear the lever tapping. So what's just happened is as I've turned that binding lever, it's dropped into a gate, and in this particular case, judging by the tapping and the movement on the pick, that is a true gate. Okay, let's go to lever 4. So I'm going to apply. Now, the pliers again dropped ever so slightly, and now there isn't any tapping. There's just a dead feeling on the actual pick. So what's probably happened there is it's a high lift lever, which means that the true gate is above the anti-pick notch. So as I've lifted that up, it's dropped into its anti-pick notch, and now that is now binding. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift that higher. I'm going to apply some force to it. There we go. And if we listen now, you can hear that lever is now tapping. So the first lever is still tapping. The second lever, you can see by the angle of the puck here, there's the first, there's the second. You can see how much extra that's been lifted. So we've got a lever that dropped into its true gate immediately, so that's a low lift lever, and we've got a lever that had to be lifted out of its anti-pick notch and into its true gate, which is a high lift. The ABA pattern on this lock now dictates that lever number 3 is going to have to be the same as this. If we watch the pliers again, there, they've just dropped down. It's such a gentle turning force that I'm applying there. If I'd grabbed a big handful there and turned it quickly, then I probably would have overshot that true gate and gone into the anti-pick notch, which is above it. So let's have a listen. There's 5. There's 4. And there's 3. So they all sound like they're tapping and they're in a gate. So let's go to lever 2. Okay, so lever 2 feels like it's not binding, so we won't lift that any higher. Let's go to lever 1. So lever 1 is binding. Okay, now you've just seen I've lifted lever 1 and the pliers have dropped down. So let's have a listen. Lever 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So lever 2 is absolutely solid. So what's happened is lever 2 has dropped into its anti-pick notch. Let's have a look at the angle of the puck. So there's lever number 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Because that's absolutely solid and the puck is at this angle, that means that I've overlifted lever number 2 and it's dropped into its anti-pick notch. If you overlift and it goes into anti-pick, that means that lever is a low lift lever and I've lifted it too high. So we're going to go through this lock again. Let's reset it. So we know that 5 and 3 are low lift. So let's do 5 again first. There we go, that's just jumped. Let's do 4. That's just jumped into anti-pick. It's a high lift lever. So now I'm going to lift out of that. There we go. 5, 4, 3 is low lift. There we go. So 3, again, the pliers moved down a little bit. Now we knew that 2 was a low lift, so I'm going to leave that alone. Let's go to 1. Let's just do 1 and then we'll do 2 afterwards. Okay, so again, so now we've got, actually I think the lock is open. There we go, yes, the lock is open. So that's all we needed to do there. We worked out the feedback on these levers, and as you can see, going into anti-pick was a good thing because it told us that lever number 2 had been overlifted by applying the logics of where the gates are on the levers, and it enabled us to repick the lock based on that feedback and get the open. So here I've got the same lock that I've just opened. This time I'm not going to use the pliers. I'm going to apply the tension using my hand. And based on the knowledge that we gained from watching the feedback from the pliers, we know that levers 5 and 3 were low lift. Lever 4 was a high lift. We didn't really need to touch lever 2. And when we touched lever 1, that which was a low lift, we got the open on the lock. So let's apply the same logic. So I'm going to start on lever 5. And there's the little click, and you can hear it tapping. Let's go to lever 4, which is high lift. So that's the lever now dropped into its anti-pick. And if we lift it out of that, so now we've got lever 5, lever 4, 3 needs to be lifted. There we go. There was the really little turn. 5, 4, 3. Lever 2 we weren't going to touch. Let's go to lever 1. And there we go, we got the lock open. So knowing these levers, the configuration inside the lock, we can get a confident and proficient open on the lock fairly quickly. So once you know how to work out from the feedback the lever configuration, you too will be able to open locks like this. In.